brothers and sisters, we want to welcome you to our meeting this morning. I want to thank you all for coming on this time, and we're going to begin our agenda as follows. The topic we're covering today is our nursing home reform. If you have any other issues concerning your contract, you may contact your organizers or your VP at the end of this meeting. We are going to respect each other's time. It looks like listening to each other, ending the scheduled time, no personal attack, and expect good intentions. The conversation stays here, meaning what we say, we talk through our any difficult conditions. Issues stay here and is not put out to the larger audience. If you join by phone and you'd like to ask a question, we ask you to press *6 to unmute yourself and mute yourself. Thank you. I'm going to pass it over to the VP, the EVP, Miss Millie Silva from the Nursing Home Division, to give a good word of advice. Millie?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. One thing that I just wanted to, hold on a second. Sorry about that. So good morning, everyone. If you're joining this call, I have a few guesses of where you might be. You might be somebody who just finished the 11 to 7 shift and is on your way home or has gotten home and needs to then figure out the rest of the day. You might have worked a double, or you might be somebody who is working the 3 to 11 and took the time this morning to be up and join us for this call, or you might be a 7 to 3 member who is on a break and using your 15 minutes or your half hour in order to be able to join us. And so I want to appreciate you for taking the time to be a part of the conversation, because the message that I want to give to you and that I hope will not stay in this room and that you will share and bring with your coworkers is that if you think about the last shift that you worked and you ask yourself, if I'm a nursing staff member, did I have enough coworkers who were there with me to be able to give the kind of care that I want to give to my residents? Did I have enough time to talk to that senior who needs a little bit extra minutes, but I couldn't because I was rushing from room to room? Am I somebody whose job it is to prepare the meals, but I'm seeing that the kind of food that we're giving to the residents just isn't the kind of meal that I would want to give my grandma or my dad? Or that you don't have the kind of supplies you need to also stay protected? Or you might be a maintenance person or a housekeeper who, as you do the work of keeping the place shining and beautiful, you also do the important work of helping with sanitizing and cleaning the rooms, and you're putting your own life at risk, but maybe you don't have the supplies you need to clean well, or to protect yourself as well as you can. Or you might be a recreation aide who's found that now during this pandemic, you've gone from not just organizing activities, but also having to put on some extra PPE so that you can help feed residents. If that has happened to you on your last shift, in the last week, in any time in the last month, when we started at this pandemic a year ago, or something that you experienced for as long as you have been working as a worker at a nursing home in New York, we need you to take advantage of this moment that we have and the sacrifice that you have made, the work that you have done. We have got to join together and push in Albany that the legislators do the work of pushing forward for nursing home reform. That means more time for you to care, more time for you to be able to give the kind of expertise that you've given for so long. And that's what this is about, because at this point, we've been running commercials, some of which you'll see or you've heard. We've been doing lobby visits. You're going to hear a little bit about those. And we've also been making some phone calls, but we're not there yet. And if you have a boss who has ever not given you what you needed, understand this. They know that we are so close to getting there and winning the change we need that they're starting to fight back. And they're going to fight back in Albany, because what we're demanding is that we change the whole system, not just the one boss or the 2 bosses or the 5 bosses who've been getting away with disrespecting workers and disrespecting staff and disrespecting members and the residents. So I'm hoping that if you've been fighting this during this campaign and bringing it forward, that you give a little bit more of what you got during this month of March to get us there. If you've got coworkers who haven't been involved, that you pull them in, because this is our moment. And I said to the team, in my heart of hearts, I believe that if we don't win the most that we can right now, I don't know when we will. And then I'm thinking about later in 2021, where we've got contract bargaining. And you all know, some of you had to fight to get your 3%. That was something that they agreed to do, and yet they couldn't respect the contract. So imagine what's going to happen to us as we're bargaining in the fall, whether you're at a league shop, a Greater New York shop, a group shop, whether you're a clinic member or an OPWDD member, where your raises and your benefits are going to be based on what we're able to win together. We're in the fight for our lives. So I, again, hope that you will tell us, what do we need to do to help support you to get us to the finish line? Because we're there, and we can see that we're getting there, but we're not there yet, and we're not going to get there without you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Millie, for that interesting conversation with the members. Okay, we're gonna remember, guys, if you join by phone and you want to ask the question at the end of the meeting, please remember to press *6 so you'll unmute yourself. We're gonna move on to the next person. Tim, can you show the video for the members, please?
New York's nursing homes are facing a crisis. Although some nursing home operators do right by their residents and staff, too many are cutting corners and making excuses about why they're not providing adequate resident care. Owners claim they can't afford to provide adequate staffing and quality of care. Let's break down why nursing home owners' excuses don't add up. They say that decreasing profit margins are why they aren't providing adequate resident care. But if it's such a bad business, why are people lining up to purchase nursing home facilities? New York's for-profit nursing home industry is growing rapidly. The real reason profit margins appear to be decreasing is that owners are hiding their profits by subcontracting services to companies they own at inflated prices. So owners and operators are siphoning nursing home dollars back to themselves and then falsely claiming they don't have enough money to pay for staff and resources at their nursing homes. Can't afford to provide quality care? Hardly. We need accountability for how public dollars are used to provide care, and we need it now. Albany needs to pass reform now to make sure nursing home owners are spending taxpayer money the way it's meant to be spent to achieve the quality of care our residents need.
Thank you for that video, Tim. Members, if you have any questions,
we have one more.
Pardon? One more? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go right ahead. While we're waiting on the other video, remember, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Much of our coverage has focused on the state health department's directive on March 25th, which some say caused more seniors to die from the virus.
But we're also learning about new bills that, if passed, could prevent similar tragedies in the future. Emily Burkhardt joins us live with more of her investigation. Emily?
Benita Mark, these laws would look to establish safe staffing levels, more oversight, and adequate PPE levels. All things direct care workers and their unions have been trying to address for years.
I want you to care. I want you to walk the halls of our facility. I want you to see our patients slumped in bed and crying and wet and soiled. I want you to walk through my facility and not just look at things that may make you more money one day. I want you to look and see my residents. I want you to see my residents as human beings and not money.
That's the message Millette Cooper, a licensed practical nurse of 30 years, has for the CEO of Centers Healthcare, Kenny Rosenberg. She says everyday staff members at Del Mar Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing have to prioritize resident care because they're stretched too thin.
We've actually been told that if we don't like it, we can go somewhere else.
Cooper says they don't even have access to clean towels and washcloths for their residents because management refuses to buy more. Meanwhile, Rosenberg agreed to a 25-year, $100 million loan with his son last fall, allowing him to buy an Israeli airline.
Do you know how much fire that puts, into us? Then they'll go, you know what? We can't even get soap. You know what I mean? And you're buying airlines. They need to have a basic, just the basic toothbrush or washcloth or towel. I mean, they stopped buying washcloths a while ago, and it's just these paper washcloths. It's inhumane. It's inhumane the way we're treating them.
These have been issues for years, but all of the attention on nursing home COVID deaths has brought them to the forefront. That's why 1199 SEIU Healthcare Workers East is pushing several new laws they believe will improve care across the nursing home industry here in New York.
We see it as an opportunity to then fix what has been broken for so long.
Millie Silva is the executive vice president of the union. She says they're pushing for legislation that would mandate for-profit nursing homes spend at least 70% of Medicare and Medicaid dollars on direct care. They're looking to improve transparency, particularly with nursing home owners that also own staffing agencies or pharmacies they contract with. They also want to see regular audits with significant financial penalties for companies that fail to meet standards. We've already seen some pushback from the Empire State Association of Assisted Living. Those facilities would be subject to the same new requirements. ESOL says the new measures, coupled with an inability to correct minor infractions without penalty, have many assisted living providers concerned about their continued ability to keep their doors open.
And so if we care about our seniors, we should hold ourselves up to the highest standards of care. And that means that if we don't do what we're supposed to do, that we're willing to pay the price. And if it's increasing penalties as a way to discourage and disincentivize those bad actors in the industry, then that's what we should do. That's what I would want for my mom or for my grandmother, and I'm sure that that's what they would expect for their loved one as well.
If that doesn't convince you investments need to be made in direct care, maybe this will.
People just have to remember, one day they're going to be there. One day, it will be you.
Emily Burkhardt, News Channel 13. The company says the statement that Centers Healthcare Facilities no longer is purchasing towels, washcloths, or other necessary toiletries is preposterous. All facilities are fully up to code with all necessary toiletries. As for staffing, they say all facilities in the Centers Healthcare family, including Del Mar Center, meet the state-mandated staffing numbers under the guidelines put forth by the New York State Department of Health. If there are holes or gaps in staffing, the company has floating nurses at all times in all regions to fill.
Thank you very much, Tim, for those two videos. We'll open the floor to members. We can take 5 questions. Anyone need to ask a question, please unmute yourself. If you join by phone, please press *6. If you join by the Zoom link, you can go on the top and just unmute yourself. No questions?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Who am I speaking with? Can you name your
morning.
facility too?
Hello?
You're on. You can go ahead. Who is it on the line?
Marie Caesar, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Caesar. What facility are you from?
Garden Care Center.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you for having this meeting. I feel very good about it because I have so many things and questions I need to be answered. Okay, I'm working in my facility. I'm glad that we on this platform now because you are the right person I've been complaining to. I'm working in a facility right now where the staff is really crazy. We used to have 3 nurses. They cut the 3 nurses. we used to have 6 CNAs, they cut it to 3 and 4. And when we complained to the GNS, he said, it is what it is. You know, we don't have money, we have to do this, we have to do that. You know, he gave us a bunch of explanation why it's not gonna be better. He said, get used to it. My concern is, I know that there's COVID. I know that they claim that they don't have any money, but the patients, the residents that are in the facility still requires the same care that they require the care, proper care. You got patients that get up from 6 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, they're still out there because we don't have no staff at 3 to 11 to put them to bed. They are dirty, they're falling, it's really a mess. We need help. We need help. 2 nurses, 3 CNAs, 4 CNAs, the job cannot be done. We don't have soap. We have to go and borrow everything from other floors. Nothing. We have nothing. Nothing. This is not a way to live. I know my life. I can end up there. My mom can end up in the nursing home. It's not a matter of age anymore. Yes.
What
Hello?
did you say your name was again? I'm still here. What did you say your name was again?
Marie Caesar.
Okay, Ms. Caesar, thank you for your question. And that's why we're trying to let the Senator and the Assemblyman pass this bill. That's why we're encouraging our members to keep calling this number so we can push forward this bill. So please encourage your members to call the number and then we'll take it from there, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, good morning. My name is Clover James. I'm CNA at Parker Jewish, which is located in New Hyde Park. CEO is Michael Rosenberg. And as you know, our concern is about the short staffing, which is really overwhelming because before COVID, it was, we were already short, and now with COVID, it is, over short now. Because, they cut back so much since COVID, and yet still they expect us to give the quality care that the residents need, and when it's not, which is impossible for us to do. And, you know, we get blamed, CNA get blamed for everything. The patient lose weight, CNA get blamed. The patient them die, CNA get blamed. We get blamed for every single thing they blame the CNA for. And they're not seeing what they are doing, that they're not doing what they need to do so the patient can get quality care. When you have 3 CNA working in the morning, you have to give shower, you have to feed, you have to spread bed, you have to give weight, you have to do everything, breakfast, everything. We can't do it. It is impossible for us to do it, what they're asking us to do. And then, you know, we have been abused by the patient at the same time they're abusing us because they're taking out their frustration on us because they need help and we cannot give them the help they need because we are just, one person to have all 20 residents, 15 residents. We can't do it. We are human beings. When we leave work, we don't have any use for our family. When we go home, we can't do nothing for our family because of what? Our entire body are in pain. We are hurting all over because we
Thank you, my sister. I don't mean to cut you off, but we have to move on to the next one right now. We don't have any more time for questions, but please remember to call those numbers so we can let them pass the bill, okay?
Yes,
we're going to take questions at the end of the meeting, okay? Thank you very much for your time. All right.
Okay.
All right. Remember, guys, if you join by phone and you want to ask a question, please unmute yourself by pressing *6. If you join by the link, there's a microphone on the top of your screen. Please tap on that. Okay, we're going to move on to our next brother now for the political report, and that's Mr. Dell.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Gonna give a quick report about our lobby week and our outreach to the elected officials. So our lobby week was really successful. In the downstate area of Long Island, New York City, and Westchester, we conducted 50 lobbies. Those lobbies started on February 18th, and they went through to this past Monday, the 1st of March. 9 lobbies were done in Long Island with Long Island elected officials, 35 lobbies with New York City elected officials, and 6 lobbies with the Hudson Valley, Westchester Capital Region elected officials. The majority of the lobbies were well attended. Members stayed on message, and even when we used the word safe staffing, it was within the context of member stories and testimonies. I heard many questions from legislators trying to get a better understanding of what actually happens on the work site, asking about, you know, what happens when patients can't be fed in a timely manner, about how long owners have been at the facilities, and also asking about family and how do they play during when they see that the resources are low. So we feel really good that we got our message across, but the work is not done. Legislators are talking positively about the need to pass reforms. We're so close, but we can't miss this mark. So we've got calls and emails going out to the elected officials. Want to actually ask people to continue those calls. I'll put the call numbers back in the chat. But here where we are with our current goals on those calls for the nursing home division. We are at 10% of our goal, which is we gotta do much better. We've made 802 calls, about 386 people have made that. So, you know, got a small majority of people making multiple calls. We need to share that burden. We got about 86 emails that have gone out, and we've tracked about 500 members that are wearing the sticker. But I want to talk a little bit more and emphasize why these calls matter. So we know that the state Senate has already moved our reform language through their House. They've passed 4 bills that focus on our reforms. The governor, a couple of weeks ago, added our reform language to his budget proposal in his amendment. And now we're waiting on the House. There's bills moving through the House, but they don't have really similar language, and they're not, you want 2 House bills that mimic each other so they can move on to the next process of going to the governor. And we need to make sure that these calls continue. We need to keep the energy up, especially in the assembly. So there's a lot going on in Albany right now. We have a pandemic, we have an economic downturn. We know that everybody's paying attention because of the nursing home crisis, but we can't miss this moment, brothers and sisters. Leadership have listened to you over the years about the importance of this issue. We've addressed it, but now this is our moment. Everyone is focusing on the nursing home crisis. But just because we have commitments, we can't get lax on that commitment. We gotta keep the pressure on until we get these bills passed. This is our moment. We can't let it slip out of our hands. So the call to action, and I'll put this in the chat as well, we don't need to focus too much on the Senate right now. We want to put all of our calls to the Assembly, 833-756-1199, 833-756-1199. Call your Assembly member, encourage them, tell them it is necessary to pass nursing home reform legislation. Our 4 major priorities are the 70% spending that must go on patient care, 40% of that being staffing, to make sure that we have hours per resident of day, a minimum of 4.1 hours, a requirement The third one is a requirement for infection control audits, annual audits. And then lastly, we need more transparency in the certificate of need process to make sure that it's open to the public. There's more times for the public to engage, and that also owners that are bad actors in this process, they should not be allowed to purchase new homes in the state. So I'll put this in the chat. Remember, we have a website as well, www.investinqualitycare.org. Go to the website, sign up, take action, look at the videos. Remember, leaders, you've got to talk to your other colleagues and get them to make these calls, get them to wear the stickers, join, go to the website, engage. This is your moment. We cannot let this slip away. We are this close, but we got to push this across the finish line. And your stories, your testimonies, and your energy with the elected officials, it's what's going to get us there. So I'll put all of this information in the chat. But brothers and sisters, let's own this moment. Get energized, talk to your colleagues, talk to family and friends, talk to the family members of your patients. Get everybody making these calls. This is our moment. Thank you so much, and I turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you, Brother Dell, for that information. Please, members, reach out to those numbers, and please remember to keep everybody in touch. Please let them know that they have to call those numbers. I'll turn it off to Lise with one of the panel.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. I'm here to introduce one of our delegates by the name of Marie Cléjou. She's from the Fulton Commons. She's a CNA. Marie?
Hello, I'm Marie Cléjou. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good.
Could you just give a brief introductory of yourself, let everybody know how long you've been a delegate, how long you've been in the institution?
I've been a delegate, I think about maybe 5 years. I've been a delegate, and I work at Fulton Commons Care Center. I've been working there for 12 years.
Okay, wonderful. We just would like to know, what does nursing home reform mean to you and your coworkers?
Well, nursing home reform means a lot to us. Quality care. We have a lot of residents that need us, that need our help, because at this point, one day we'll eventually, I'm not saying all of us will be there, but if we're end up in the nursing home, we're like the people that cares about our health and our wealth and our well-being to be able to take care of us. Like enough staff that be able, like there's some residents that you get that's not able to feed themselves. Sometimes on a unit you can have about 8 residents that you have to feed, and it's 3 staff, and it's 50 minutes you have to hand out trays, feed and deliver the trays back for them to take to the kitchen. How many residents can you possibly feed a whole meal in that 50 minutes with 3 staff? It's impossible. Some gonna eat enough, some might not have enough to eat. They might eat 2-3 spoons of food, and then the others, sometimes this is why you have breakdowns of pressure ulcers where they won't be able to eat because they're breaking down, and if they're not eating, they're gonna break down. You understand me? Because you need you need nutrition. You have to be able to shower residents at a certain amount of time. Sometimes it can take you an hour to give a shower, and you have 2-3 more showers to give. Not everybody's gonna get their feet washed. You understand me? Because it's built up of plaque and stuff on their feet. Their skin is dry. You're not gonna be able to do all that type of nurturing and caring if you have only like a handful of staff, 4 staff, for a 40-bed unit, and you expect us to get all that work done within that time frame of 7 hours, and you have to take your break in between. It's just like as much caring as you want. Well, I'm going to skip my break today because I want to do extra. It's impossible.
So you're basically saying it's in the interest of everyone to get some sort of reform within the nursing home industry.
Oh yes, because all they think about is like making more money, but not thinking about the patient's care, the patient's health. While the patients are paying money for somebody to take care of them, somebody at home care for them. But it was their choice. If they could do it themselves, they wouldn't be there. You understand me? So we have to give them what they're paying for.
I got you. And one of these days it will be us too.
basically, and we have to look at that. You understand me? Today might be you, tomorrow might be me. We have to look at it because any circumstances, any one of us can end up in a nursing home. And we would
So
like
what would
somebody,
you-
like I always ask myself that if I was a CNA and I end up if I'm a CNA, if I end up being a patient, would I want a CNA like me to take care of myself? I have to ask my question like that. Am I a good CNA? Do I want to make sure that person is clean? Do I want to make sure that person is eating? Do I want to make sure that person looks properly when he wakes up in the morning? Brush their teeth, wash their face, feed them, make sure they don't have no pressure ulcers, make sure they have lotion on their feet. Ask them, are they okay? You understand me? Do you have time? Oh, I want to go to the bathroom. They take to the bathroom. I'm about to go to lunch. You think I'm going to stop to go take them to the bathroom? I should be able to do that without having to feel that, oh my gosh, I have to go to lunch. If I take you to lunch now, I'm going to somebody else's lunch time, and then management going to like, okay, that was your break time. Why did you take your break? Because I had to take somebody to the bathroom. If you had enough
Okay.
staff, we wouldn't be having problems like that.
Thank you, Marie. Listen, what do you think that's hindering our co-workers from calling, making these calls? Because we've been on this, as Del just stated, we're almost to the finish line, but we have to get this campaign over the finish line and get some legislation going. What do you think our co-workers could do about this, and what's hindering them?
I guess it's more of an explanation. A lot of them not understanding between reform, meaning that they have to call the legislator. What do they say? Some of them can't. It's a language barrier, and then on top of that, what do you want me to say? You have to understand. Like, I need a speech to say. What do you want me to say when I call the legislator? Oh, could you make sure you sign the legislation reform bill? Is that what you want me to say? It has to be explained more to the members, and some members are lazy. They're not going to do it, but they want the perks. You understand me? And you got members that are doing it every day. But it's just the understanding, knowing that a lot of the members don't understand what to do, and it might need to be explained to them a little more. Like, you want reform, you want more aid, you want more help, you want more quality care, you have to do this. It's like it's imperative that you do this. It's an understanding where I think it is, where it's like what number do you want me to call? You want me to call and tell them this? It's more of an understanding for me, and then trying to get them the number, or it's like micromanaging the person. Like, stand right here, call them, tell them this is what you want. You understand? You can't do that with every member, but you can only try, like, it's imperative, please call, please call, please call. You become repeated all the time, and they're not doing it. I'm like, what else can I tell you? We need quality care. You need more staff. You don't want to work short. You want to make sure that the resident gets taken care of. You need to call and ask for reform, because management is not going to change unless it's a law. That's the only way. It has to be written in law for them to be able to implement the rules. If they don't implement the rules, they're looking at their pockets trying to stay fat, not the quality care for the patient.
Thank you, Marie. I appreciate
Thank you
the
very much,
conversation.
Elise. Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you.
Clerjou, for that one. Members, I hope you guys are listening. I hope you guys reach out to the assemblyman and keep calling that number like Ms. Clerjou said. It's important to take care of the residents. We need this bill to pass. We need you to keep calling. So I'm gonna hand it over to the next speaker, that's Mr. Patrick Duncan. Thank you.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. As we've already heard from people, the union has been listening. We've been listening for decades now about the issues surrounding staffing, quality care, wages, and we also just heard from the sister some of the issues that she's personally encountering in getting people to make these calls. So the question that we've been asking ourselves is, if we believe quality care and staffing are top issues, then why are we only at 10% of the calls? Why aren't members lining up in droves to make these calls? You know, what's getting in the way? What's it going to take to motivate them? What do you guys need from us to help make that happen? So these are questions that we have for you, and we'd like to take 10, 15 minutes and actually hear what you're encountering, what you're hearing. So if any of you would like to speak, it's *6, or just unmute yourself and jump into the conversation. Hello, who's this?
Yes, hi.
Hi, this is Damaris Henry. I just want to say something. Can I go ahead?
For residential care under the.
Hold on a sec, one at a time, please.
Go right ahead, sister.
Hello?
Can you unmute yourself by pressing *6 if you join my phone?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, this is Marie Cesar again from Garden Care and Franklin Square. I'm glad you asked because I was waiting to ask the question myself. Okay, what I would like personally as an LPN to be happening in the nursing home is the staffing issue. We don't even have nurse. Sometimes I have to wait an hour and I have to have another nurse on the floor. If I can have this problem resolved, I will be happy. While I'm waiting for the nurse, I have to do the finger stick, do certain work until she comes, and helping the CNA. All I'm asking is staffing. We need staffing in order to continue the job the way it's supposed to be doing. Please, whatever it takes, if I have to go anywhere, just send me the messages, I'll do it because I'm in it for a long time, for a while, so I need help. And my staff needs the help as well.
Hi, Marie.
Hi. Yes.
Just another question before we move on. We hear you, and a minimum amount of direct patient care hours is part of that bill, but our question for you is, why aren't all of the nurses in your facility picking up the phone to call? Why aren't all of the aides and the dietary members and the housekeepers, what's stopping them from calling? What do they need?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Question. We have a director of nursing in the facility that bullying everybody. Okay? Let's say if they know that I call, I may be, I'm a target. So, and another thing, most of the CNAs and LPNs, most of the LPNs are not staff members. We only got 3 staff LPNs. Everybody are from the agency. She doesn't hire. We got LPN that working in the facility for 6 years who's not on staff. So I don't think they really care. And the people that working on staff are afraid of the DNS. The DNS will fire you if she thinks that you're doing something to put her facility in jeopardy. That's what she call it, not reform, jeopardy. Like she always said, it is what it is. Take it or leave it. Okay? He is a bully. This is one, by the way, this is the first facility that I worked that only got a DNS, no assistant DNS, no infection control, nothing. She's the one woman that does everything in the facility. That's something that needs to be addressed. One DNS doing everything. She fired everybody. So people are afraid to get fired. That's why they have to do it.
So fear of retaliation then. Okay. I'm sorry, could you introduce yourself and your facility?
I'm Marie Clejure again from Fulton
Hi,
Commons.
Marie.
The thing about it, I have a suggestion. You see the same way that we have to, like when we doing our raids and we get together like in the parking lot where we come in front of the facility and stuff like that on our breaks, when we come on our breaks and stuff. Like if we can have some time to organize it to come on the breaks times, like 10 o'clock or on when the staff is leaving at 2 o'clock, we can have a phone roll call in the parking lot. Like, could you stand here and could you make that call right now as you do, like different facilities? As they go, as the people leaving the building, they can make this, like, let's call the politician right now, talk about all you have to say is this. And have a couple people a day doing that, maybe we'll get more calls than possible.
And just so everybody knows, you're not limited to making these phone calls during the day. All of these offices have answering machines. So You can go home and after dinner at 7 o'clock call and leave that same information on a message, and your director of nurses will never know you made that call. Is there somebody else that'd like to?
Yes, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, can you say your name and what facility you're
Yes,
from?
my name is Tobertin from Parker Jewish. I'm having a problem with, my problem is with my facility is that the members, them are saying when they call, when they make the call, they're not getting through, and there's no way for them to leave a message.
Okay, that's new information, so we're going to have to check with our communications people
Yes,
to
please
see
do,
what the issue
please
is.
do check for me. And another suggestion that what I do in my facility, I work at night. So what I do, I go in, I make sure I make flyers. I take the posters and I make flyers, hundreds of flyers. And I make sure I go in early, hand it out to all the members, stay back late in the morning, hand it out to the members, and make sure I let them know that this is for your benefit. It's not, the union does not consist of the delegates. The union consists of everybody. All the members here are the union. We make up the union. And the fight is not for one people, it's for everybody. And we have rights. You have to let them know that you have, the union is there to back you. So don't be afraid to make the call. I mean, management can fire you for that. They can't do you anything. So I make sure I insist on that you make that call because it's for your benefit. And then if you don't come and complain to me that we are overstaffed on the union not doing anything about it. What are you doing about it? You have to take control of the situation too. It's not just the delegates alone. So we have to make the members, make them aware that this is for you. We are fighting for you, not for just us alone, but it's for every one of us. The fight is for all of us.
Thank you very much, sister, for that. We have a few more minutes for a couple more questions. If you're joined by the link, please unmute yourself. Please raise your hand by pressing *9. If you're joined by phone, press *6.
Hi, yes, my name is Kim. I was speaking before. Can you hear me?
Hi, Kim.
Yes,
what facility are you from?
I am not from a nursing home. However, I do work for, I work for a residential home for under OPWDD. And my question is basically, we are now mandated to work 3 shifts, 4 shifts, and I'm wondering, is that a Department of Labor law issue, or is that 1199? I mean, because they have, I understand, I heard all the stories with the agency workers versus the workers that work there, but we're basically the union members are actually the ones that need to be doing something about it, and it's really, we don't know who to go to. Like, we don't know if it's a union issue or a labor issue, if, for instance, there is no coverage. You know, I work 6 to 2. More time, I can't get out of there until 10 o'clock because when 4 o'clock comes, they're telling me no staff has come. However, how are we doing? What are we doing about this? They're supposed to give mandation fees. We're having issues getting mandation fees. And the delegates sometimes are intimidated, it seems, sometimes to go to management. And it's like, lately, because of COVID, everyone's working remotely. So, you know, we're just like stuck. And people are actually looking for other jobs, trying to come out of these areas and go into hospitals and go into educational things, you know, actually just leaving posts because of all that's going on. And we need some help also. We need direction. You know, it's not just the nursing home, it's also the other homes, group homes, and things like that. And no one is really trying to hear anyone, you know? I mean, everyone's underworked.
I'm hearing what you're saying, and while this is tied in with this whole reform campaign, the quick answer to your question is the only people who cannot be mandated by state law are RNs and LPNs. Now, that said, everything you've just laid out is all the more reason to get your coworkers together after work if they're afraid, or on their break, and make these calls. because part of these bills is a minimum amount of hours that need to be given to the residents each day, and those hours can't be met with the current staff or through mandation. It's going to basically, the long and short of it is, we're not looking for staffing ratios. We're looking for staffing hours, which requires more bodies. So, absolutely. Huh?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So, this is why we need people to pick up the phone and make the calls. You know, everything you've just laid out is a perfect example of that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, sister. We have time for one more question, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Hi, can I say something?
Go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Damaris Henry, and I work at Medford Multicare. I believe that in order for us to get more of these calls, I think that the union delegates should do a lot more teaching and information, because so far at my facility, I've not seen any of the delegates. Like, I feel they should do more, because I believe like a lot of the staff, they're only informed by the emails and the text messages that they get from the union. So I feel that we including myself, we should go out there more and encourage the staff and inform them, because a lot of them might not even be looking at the text messages and the emails. I think if we do more word of mouth, that a lot more staff members would go out there and make that call. That's my opinion. That's what I noticed, because I don't see any of the delegates out there passing out information and encouraging persons to make the call.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much, sister. We're going to wrap this part up right now. We're going to take more questions at the end of this meeting. I'm going to pass it over to Tim and Dane Williams.
Good morning, sisters and brothers. Dane, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Hey, go ahead, Dane.
Yes. Good morning, sisters and brothers. It's always a pleasure to be with you. In the height of this pandemic last year, we said to you, which was not good enough for us, is just thank you for the sacrifice and the work that you've been doing, and we'll continue to join you in raising your voices in Albany and telling your story, so we can bring about meaningful change in the industry. And part of those changes is moving actions in your facilities to bring awareness of some of the experiences that you experience while performing the work that you do. Providing quality of care for your residents, and the endurance that comes about in doing that because of lack of staffing, inadequate staffing, and lack of adequate materials to do the work. So we're here to continue on that journey and to let you to afford you with the tools that you need to bring about those change. So I'll pass it over to Vice President Tim Rogers to walk us through those toolkits that we have, and hopefully that we're finding the time to improve on the cause. Tim?
Thanks, Dane. So yeah, this has been an absolute amazing meeting up to this point, and just like the stories are so powerful. This is the workers' time. This is like the time that nursing homes have an opportunity and have the chance to really make lasting change. This isn't about something that's going to go into the collective bargaining agreement that we have to fight to maintain every negotiations. This is something that would become law. So the elected officials listen to the loudest voice and the last voice that they hear, and we need to make sure that we're the loudest voice and the consistent voice that they're hearing. So to get involved and to get the calls in and to push this over the finish line, we need members to make phone calls to the Assembly and the Senate. So if everybody can just take a quick moment and grab a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to give you those numbers that you have to call. When you call the number, it's going to walk you through some prompts, and it's going to explain to you, the message, and it's going to help you through that process. It's not just calling and just you're on and you're good to go. It guides you through it. So don't be afraid. It's really simple. It is not something that's hard. All right. So the phone number to call the assembly is 833-756-1199. Again, to call the assembly, it's 833-756-1199. So again, you just call that number and just follow the prompts and they'll take you right through the whole entire steps. To call the Senate, the phone number is 833-923-1199. So again, to call your senator, it would be 833-923-1199. So it's really important that we get those calls. Another way that you can work on getting in touch with your elected officials is by visiting the campaign website, which is www.investinqualitycare.org. And there's a little tab up on the top that says Get Involved, and if you click on that, it'll actually help you send an email to your elected officials also. So we should be making the phone calls, we should be sending the emails, and then we got to stay up to date on what's going on. So to get updates on everything that's going on with the campaign, text the word INVEST to 30644, and that means you'll keep on getting updates on what's going on with the campaign, where we're at, how the process is moving, and how much closer we're getting to getting these bills passed and making them law, and really having like significant change that is going to benefit the workers and the residents for a long time to come. So again, just really quickly, the Assembly, 833-756-1199. The Senate, 833-923-1199. And the website is investinqualitycare.org. Dave?
Yes, sisters and brothers. We also be mindful that there's actions on the 18th. Just stay tuned and join an action where it's taking place in your nursing home. For the most part, in all the nursing homes, there will be actions, whether indoors or outdoors. So try to participate, try to encourage your co-workers to participate. And based on the discussions you heard today, sisters and brothers, these are the questions you got to ask yourself. Are I ready to take action? Right? You have to ask yourself, would you have 5 of your co-workers also to make phone calls? I know we're on a Zoom call and people cannot respond to the joke, but please ask yourself these questions and act on them. Will you recruit 10 more people to make calls? These calls are very important that we send a message to our legislators that nursing home reform is essential. As essential workers, we must make this happen. This is our time, like our brother Dell says, that this is the time for us to make a lasting impact in the nursing home of issues and concerns that we've been dealing with for years and years gone by. This is the time for us to make meaningful change for sisters and brothers. Let's make those calls. Let's participate in those actions in our facility, and let's make a better and create a better environment to working and provide better quality of care for our residents. So thank you, and I'll pass it back to the chair if Tim doesn't have anything else to add.
No, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brothers, for that interesting conversation with our members. Okay, we're gonna open up the floors for questions. And we ask, if you join by phone, please unmute yourself by pressing *6. If you join by the Zoom link, please unmute yourself by pressing *9. We're gonna go to Mr. iPhone O'Donoghue. You're first. Unmute yourself, please.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Jimmy. I work from Cortland Healthcare and Barracliff Manor Healthcare. My question is, at Barracliff Manor, they have a policy that if you work overtime, you have to do 40 hours before getting overtime. And we work 37 and a half hours per week. So for instance, if I work one overtime, I lose 5 hours. You know, because they have to make up to 8 hours before getting overtime. So I end up getting only 2.5 hours for doing 7.5 hours overtime. What are we doing about that?
So we appreciate your question and your concern, but again, so that is a facility-specific issue. So not knowing exactly the wording within your contract, the suggestion would be that you reach out to your organizer or area vice president to go over that issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Millie?
So there are two questions that we've heard and that I wanted to put to the group. One is, so who can make the phone calls? And the second is, well, what if I call the district office and they ask me what the bill number that I'm supporting, what should I say? So I wanted to put that to our planning group, if you could give some guidance on how to respond to both, so who can make the phone calls, and then two, what if they ask me for a bill number? What do I do, or what do I say?
Great, thank you, Millie. So just responding to those really quickly, again, if they ask you for a bill number, you just tell them like that it's the Invest in Quality Care campaign. You know, really just keeping it on the Invest in Quality Care. We need to understand that we are not saying short staffing, because there is a separate piece of legislation that is being moved which affects the hospitals. So our campaign is about invest in quality care. Like you see it all behind me. Invest in quality care. We need more time with our residents. So just really keeping to that point. And what was the other question, Millie? I apologize.
The other question was, who can make the phone calls? And I think actually I want to recognize that Anna Stewart put a reply into the chat, and maybe we can share his reply, because that answers the question.
So everybody can make the calls. It's your family members.
Timothy, we can't hear you. Are you through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is coming from the phone number ending in 1158. Please unmute yourself by pressing *9, sorry.
So it's you dial, if you're calling in from the phone, you're going to dial *6 to unmute yourself. If you want to be put in the queue to speak, you dial *9 if you're calling in from the phone. If you're on the Zoom app, you just press the raise hand button and you will be put into the queue to speak, and we'll be able to get you unmuted. When it's your turn to speak, you'll receive a prompt asking you to unmute yourself.
Number ending in 1158, please unmute yourself.
Hello, my name is Pascal Desir. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I'm an LPN working at Chevier Nursing Care Center in the Bronx. During the pandemic until now, we feel that we don't have no help, nobody care for us, nobody ever heard our voice, because one LPN or one nurse, it could be LPN or RN, taking care, especially during the pandemic, for 40 residents, and we had maybe 20 IVs or more. We by our one person doing that, no help, only, for example, if you work a morning shift, it could be 4 or 3 or 4 CNAs. In the evening shift, 3 CNAs for 40 residents. It's I don't have the words to explain, you know, we were very exhausted until now. We're working with 3 CNA in the evening with 40 residents. We feel that we need someone to look for us, somebody to come over or to see what's going on in the nursing home. Because during the pandemic, all we used to heard is the hospital. We never heard the nursing home. What's going on in the nursing home? We were at staff, we were dying too because we were exhausted. We were working like horse, not like a human being. We need quality care in the nursing home because the people that live in the nursing home, they are human beings. They need, if we don't have staffing, how are we going to give them quality care? Quality care needs staffing. Staffing.
Thank you
That's
very
the
much, sister.
only
We hear
way.
you for that. That's why we're encouraging you. Please encourage the members to call that number to the assembly so we can pass this, so they can sign this bill. These are one of the reasons we have in this meeting. We encourage everyone to please call so we can get this bill passed, okay? Thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 9787. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, good morning, Dad. I'm Clover from Parker. Question I would like to ask, do we have any buttons or anything to, so we can give out to the members, like, invest in quality care or, something we can pass around so they can see that, we are really serious about this move.
Clover, this is Tim. I will drop off, we don't have buttons, but I can drop off some little postcards with the numbers and everything for them to, for you guys to pass out in the shop. And the same thing, like any member, organizer, or delegate, just reach out to your organizer and ask them for some leaflets, flyers, posters, anything like that to post up in the shop and to get to the members, and we will get it to you.
Well, that I do. I do that. I gave out the flyers, but I need something so they can wear, put it on them, so it will remind them every day that they come to work that this is a serious issue we have. We are serious about this.
Yeah, we can pass along the suggestion and see what we can get done.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Okay, so I just want to say, we can't wait for this win until we get buttons on everybody. Because Albany is going to pass this legislation whether we wear a button or not. They're going to, the elected officials aren't in the shop. We need to be having the conversations with the workers. We need to be stressing to them the importance of making these calls. Getting buttons and things like that is a timely process. And if we're waiting until we get those to start getting the movement going, and I know that a lot of the people that are on this line have probably made their calls, but we also know that there's a large portion that probably hasn't. So.
Thank you very much, Tim. The next person with a question is phone number ending in 0444. Please unmute yourself. You can press star 6 to unmute yourself by phone. Okay, I guess we're having a little trouble with that. I'm going to move on to Mr. Eddie Johnson.
Yes. I sort of piggyback off what the lady said when the answer was staffing. That was spot on. And I want to know if it's illegal to have one nurse working the floor that's covering over 90 people. Because I work for Luxor Mills Pond Nursing Rehab in St. James and Smithtown. Now they got one nurse on the floor, and this has been going on for months. Sometimes we work with 3 CNAs, dealing with 60 people at a time at night. And I don't hear nobody mentioning neglect of the patients. Now quality care is one thing, but we have to get down to the nitty gritty. those patients are being neglected, period. Because you can't, be in one room around the corner down the hall and catch a patient before they fall. You can't do your 15-minute rounds in 15 minutes when you gotta walk damn near the whole floor. It's impossible. The workload that they're putting on the people that's in that facility is ridiculous. We okay with the supplies. They're decent with the supplies. But they got nurses in there and they're trying to mandate people when mandate is illegal, when there's no state of emergency, when it's a staffing issue. And it's a lot of nurses in my facility that's getting, a lot of LPNs, a lot of CNAs that's getting written up because they refuse to be mandated because of a staffing shortage. That's not our issue. That's not our problem. It's not a state of emergency, and we're not supposed to stay. And then sometimes, they get bold and they let you know at 7 o'clock in the morning when it's time for us to go home. Oh, by the way, somebody needs to be mandated. And I'm a delegate over there, and I'm like, no way. If you didn't let them know 2 hours ahead of time, then, they don't have to stay. And if it's not a state of emergency, then they don't have to stay. And they're trying to, when they hire people from the agency. And I've been fighting that over there in that facility for a long time. They bring, sometimes they hire people through the union, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. Then they put them back through the agency. See, we've been dealing with that over there too. I don't know if they getting bold like this and using the coronavirus as an excuse of why they can't do what they're supposed to do. And another thing that I want to bring up, we got our raise in February, and it was supposed to be in December, and we didn't get no retroactive back then, from December to I think it was February, from December to February. So we need somebody to call in and check that out too. There's a lot of underhanded things going on in there, and the biggest one, like I said before, is hiring people through the union, for the union, taking them out of the union and putting them back in the agency.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. For the question with the 3%, I asked you to reach out to your organizer, and she'll get it. You can reach out to your organizer, and they'll give you more information than that, okay? But the neglect with the patient, the nursing home reform bill also cover all of that. Because as long as you have enough staffing, it's gonna cover the quality care for the patient, okay? I'm gonna move on to the next question. Phone number ending in 8263. Please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Yes, my name is Sharon Bennett, and I'm calling. I work at Medford Multicare, and I understand everybody issue with the staffing because that's a problem everywhere, apparently. And when I brought this up to my DON, I was told that they are working on it, but you still have no resolution to the issue. And what I am wondering is, we're calling in this number to get this reform done, but can you get some sort of media involved so it makes it more urgent? Understand? How can we get the media involved so we can get some resolution to all these staffing issues that's happening? Because it seems to have been happening for a very long time.
Thank you very much, sister, for that. The media is also involved because we have a lot of commercials going on the television, on the different websites. You have the YouTube and Facebook and all of that. So the media is really getting aware of it. So we thank you for that. The next question is coming from Miller.
Question. I work at Bay Park. I'm a delegate for 10 years. And during the years, management doesn't show that much interest in the care of the resident. Because some of them have no clothes, and the clothes is not being cared for properly. Wherever they put them to wash, when they come back, it's a disgrace. You don't even put it on them. Some of them is a disgrace. And management is not communicating with the families. Even since this COVID, where on my family is calling, how can they reach out to them over in the nursing home? And that's not already, we're putting them back to the social worker, the call is bouncing back to us on the floor. say, oh, we're not getting through to nobody. They're not answering. Sometimes the family member said, oh, we leave a message for the social worker. It's over 2 weeks now. She hadn't called us back. She hadn't respond. What's going on? Is my family okay? So in my nursing home, management is not reaching out to the family to let them know, or if you have a Zoom call with the family, to let them know, I need to see if the family even can't talk, at least do a Zoom call, they see them, so they are there, they can listen. Some people looking forward to that. And how can we help by let them reach out to family, that family can realize their loved one is okay, and give them the quality care, what they need, when also the clothes is not there. The food is cold. All of that is going on in my nursing home. How can we help? Because that is part of quality care. If I'm not getting proper food, there's no proper clothes for them to put on. It's also part of neglect. It's like abuse.
Thank you so much, Ms. Miller. Like, and that is exactly what this is all about. This entire campaign is around not just, you know, it's about the staffing at the bedside, but it's also about quality care. It's about the staffing in the dining, in like the kitchen. It's about the staffing in environmental services. It is about every single thing that happens within these nursing homes that affect the residents and the workforce there. Like, if you don't have enough staff in the kitchen, that means there's not that person to bring the trays up when they're still hot and they're sitting there waiting. That means that if you don't have enough staff in housekeeping or in building services, something's going unsanitized, uncleaned, or unrepaired. And that's not fair to the residents, that's not fair to the workers there, and that is exactly what this entire reform campaign is about. And that is why the calls need to be made. All of these things that you guys are saying are amazing. This is what the legislators need to hear. This is what your elected officials need to be told is going on. Because part of this whole reform is having oversight, is having accountability and checks on these employers. By telling these bad employers that you have this nursing home down here that you're not doing the right thing, no, you're not buying another one. If you can't do the right thing by those residents and by those workers, you're not going to get another one to screw up. Fix the one you have, and then we'll have a conversation.
Thank you, Tim, for that. Okay, our EVP, Ms. Millie Sylvan, you have a question?
Actually, not a question, but I wanted to just respond to a couple of comments that I've heard, right? Sort of recognizing we had the leader from Francis Sherbiate that spoke up. I saw that Mr. Johnson spoke up from his facility and a couple other folks. I think that the stories that you're saying are exactly the point of quality care. And so what's happening is when you participate in the lobby visits, and I know some of you have done those, when you describe what it means to work short, what it means to not have good supplies, what it means to not have good food for the residents, what it means to be told, you know, at the last minute, hey, we want you to stay an extra shift. All of that is what we need to have the legislators hear now, right, as quickly as possible. So I think when you're making your phone calls, that's the story you should tell. They should have, you know, and those district staff people, they might say, well, what's the bill number you want to support? And that, because they want to be able to write, Millie called and Millie supports this bill, or Millie doesn't support this bill. But it's something, but she will have to write down, Millie called, she works at this nursing home, and she talked about how she's being mandated to take care of all of these workers at her nursing home. She wants there to be a change, right? You know, Paula called, and Paula works at this nursing home, and she's talking about the fact that she's there and she's working by herself with one other aide, and they're taking care of 40 or 50 people. They have to write that down. And those are the stories that I think make the case that they cannot look away from where we are right now. And so I think that's where the power of what you experience is so incredible, and we just have to make sure that they have to listen, they can't look away, they can't close their ears to it, and that's what this is about. I also really quickly wanted to respond to the question on the 3%, not to take us off agenda. Absolutely, this conversation that we have, I think about another 10 minutes left, is about our nursing home reform campaign, but because there's so many people who are affected by this, just know that the raise, for people, employers who had to pay the 3% raise, they had to pay the raise in the first paycheck as quickly as possible, and they were supposed to then pay the retro within 30 days. So for the folks in the room who said you haven't gotten your retro, definitely connect with your organizer, your vice president, because those bosses aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I hear that as another example of why they just cannot be left to do what they want on their own. They have got to be pushed, and it's us pushing them as the union, right? All of us together, and it's about pushing the governor and the legislature in both houses to say, we have eyes on you, and we see what you do, and now we're gonna do something about it. On the agency question, because I think also, agency is an example of when we talk about this piece where they should have to spend at least 70% of their dollars towards direct care. And that means good, regular full union jobs, right? So it's not okay to have the agency that you own or you have friends who own as the way to then bring people into the shop. And what you're doing is then you're taking profit out of the nursing home from the nursing home. You're taking profit out of the agency by having that agency. You're taking profit out of that company that's providing supplies to the nursing home. And at the end of the day, you have all of these different companies to take profit out of the nursing home, but you're not investing in what's the most important, which is the people who give the care. Because even with agency, they save money because they're taking profit on those agency jobs. I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Millie. And with that said, we're gonna do our closing. I wanna thank everyone for coming on this meeting this morning. And I appreciate your time, and we encourage you, please keep calling those numbers, encourage your coworkers to call those numbers. Also, we're asking you, please, every member we asking, please at least get 5 people on your next call. 5 people, those 5 can get another 5, and we can continue the cycle with that. So with that said, if this time for this meeting that works for you guys, please reach out to your organizers so we'll know we can schedule more morning meetings like this. And with that said, thank you guys very much. And I'm asking Miss Millie to please close us out.
Paula, you closed us out. Nothing more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Oh, that's the end of that shit. Yeah, we're done.